Hi everyone, I would like to begin with a small activity. I'm going to show you guys a few art pieces and you guys are going to tell me how much you guys would pay for them. So let's start. This one is called White on White. It's an oil on canvas. How much would you pay for this? Anyone? 4,000? Okay. The next one. This one's called Fountain. It's a sculpture made out of urinal and paint. What do you pay for this?
$0.
Interesting. 0. And the last one, this is a Huichol skull. It has over 30,000 crystal beads. How much would you pay for this? 500. Okay, thank you. Now we're going to see how much these pieces are actually worth. The first one, White on White, by Casimir Malevich. It's worth over $60 million. The second one, Fountain, by Marcel Duchamp, is worth $1.7 million. And the last one, with the Huichol skull, by Arte Maracame, is only worth $500. So now, by a raise of hands, I want to know, who here knows what Huichol art is? Okay, so most of you guys. Now, who here thinks Huichol art is a very beautiful and delicate technique? Most of you guys, okay. Now let's be serious. Who here actually owns a big Huichol sculpture? Huichol bracelets do not count. Oops, sorry. Just like you guys, I had only owned a Huichol bracelet. 9th grade was the first time I noticed a large Huichol skull hanging from my business partner's house in Valle. I had never seen such a big Huichol piece and in so much detail. I just loved the texture. I couldn't get it out of my head. How patient and delicate must an artist be in order to place each individual bead? My Aunt Erica, who's here today, works at Origen, an organization that dedicates themselves to helping women in Mexico who suffer from domestic violence. Each year, they have a bazaar, where 20% of their sales are donated to help these women. One year, she invited Gilberto, my business partner, and I, to sell anything we wanted. But it was at that time that Donald Trump had just won the elections. Despite his racist campaign to build a wall that separated Mexico from the US, Mexicans felt united. So Gilberto and I wanted to create a product that would represent Mexican pride and solidarity. We'd already known about Huichol art. We loved its aesthetic, we loved its texture, so we decided to create phone cases designed by Huichol people. So we contacted Fernando Botilla, who's the artist that sold the cow skull to Gilberto's mom. Fernando has dedicated his life to lending a hand to the Huichol community and preserving their traditions and selling their art. Since we began to work with them, he has shown us more and more about the Huichol culture and the ways of living. I'm now going to show you guys a video of the process of creating our phone cases. The Huichol community we work with is located in the Sierra Huichcarica in Morelia. This is the same place they mine for their crystal beads. As you can see, there are many different colors, because colors have a sacred meaning for the Huichol people. Those balls that you see in their hands are their form of glue. It's a type of wax they get out of their trees, and is very useful to paste each bead together. As you can see, it's a very painstaking process. You have to place each individual bead without a prior design, which that is what makes this art technique so beautiful and unique. They're not repeatable. Each one's totally different. It was just a great opportunity to work with them. And as you may agree with me, it's a pretty satisfying technique to watch. These are just a few of the phone cases we sold that year in that bazaar. Each and every one of the pieces made by the artisans contains different colors and symbols with a unique and sacred meaning. For example, the deer represents the spirit guide and teacher of the shamans. But when they depict two deers together, it represents the unity of men and women. The peyote plant is a spiritual knowledge, and another symbol, like the corn plant, is the life of the community. All of these symbols are direct descendants from the god of the sun, Tao. The Huicholes believe that they can cure nature by balancing it through their art and music. But there's so much more significance behind Huichol art that they even perform rituals with killing animals to feed their whole community. Out of respect and thanks to the animal, they decorate their skull with cultural and religious symbols. It is a long process. Large pieces can take up to a week to finish, working all day, every day. It's a very painstaking process, to say the least. 10,000 tiny little beads can be placed in one single area. The Huicholes live all together in one area, where, thanks to Fernando, there's a wall now that separates their territory. They're so isolated from more urbanized communities because they live up in the mountain range. Because of this isolation makes them extremely hard to connect with other communities which will actually buy their work. They're very poor. Most families do not have their own home to live in. They struggle a lot to feed the whole community because they can't afford it. And the younger generation doesn't want to follow this tradition because they see no future in it. So slowly, this culture is slowly fading away. This is where people like Fernando come in. Fernando is one of the owners of the organization I work with, Arte Maracame, who has dedicated their life to lending a hand to the Huichol people in Morelia. They sell their art and they promote it, but at the same time they raise funds to help them in other ways. For example, a few years ago, they were able to raise enough money to fully pay for all expenses to build the stone wall, which now marks their territory and keeps their cattle from running away. So what if we, Mexicans, bought more Huichol art? Well, the first time you buy a piece, you're supporting a Huichol artist. Once this becomes more often, the community is able to begin to sell more art. This will not only increase their economic state, but also, once the community is more valued by others, we can follow the idea of the pueblos mágicos in Mexico. The government sees pueblos mágicos as something that brings a lot of tourism and wealth to the community. And it is a very worthy investment. This can be exactly the same for the Huichol people. So if we, Mexicans, bought more Huichol art, not only the Mexican government would begin to invest more money in the communities, but the younger people would be more interested in these traditions and the traditions would be preserved. This would then lead us to being able to promote this art internationally, spreading Mexican history throughout the world. So this is not just a what if, this is something that we can actually change. So I leave you guys with this challenge. It is our duty as Mexicans to promote our traditions and culture, but at the same time support our ancient traditions. Thank you.